Hello everyone, it's Jessica here with another layout for the Peartree Cutfiles design team. Today I'm using one of the Advent Cutfiles from the 365 Scrapbookers edition, and these set of files are for everyday use, so it doesn't have to be used for Christmas layouts. So I am using it semi for a Christmas layout, but pretty much not. I'm actually going to be using some cow photos today. So we live on a farm in Pennsylvania, and we have beef cows that we raise. And this particular cow was brought to our farm, and she's Black Angus, and she is a tubby, huge cow. She's just very big, and she's very, very food motivated. So that's what I'm going to be scrapping today. I'm also pairing this up with a paper issues challenge, which is to be inspired by your favorite Christmas song lyrics. So I am going to throw that in here as well. And I am backing this little cute camera on this part of the cut file with some various papers from Vicki Boutin's Where to Next collection. So I've pulled that collection out. I've also pulled out some black sparkly paper that I'm using and some clear acetate that I had just in my scrap bin here just for some decorative effect on that camera. So I've got it all mostly backed here, but I wanted to show you this last layer and how I put these together. My son was coming in, he wanted me to draw him a heart, so I had to stop for a second and do that for him. And all three of my kids are actually here in the room with me today, so they were all crafting along with me. I am using a silver glitter paper for the flash part of the camera at the top, so I just use the negative pieces and cut a small outline out around those to get my backing pieces to back manually like this, and then I just glue down with some Deluxe Nouveau adhesive to the back side to actually adhere all of those beautiful layers. That Nouveau glue does dry clear, so I don't have to worry about making a mess with it, which I sometimes do. And then here, it's hard to find anything to stick to that glitter paper, but that Nouveau glue did pretty well with it. So I used that and got all those layers stuck down. I kind of backed each layer in each color one by one so that I could do all of my elements, and I could finish backing it with that black the black glitter paper last, so it kind of went over anything that I didn't already back, if that makes sense. And then for the banner part, I'm just using some textured white cardstock, so I've just cut that out the same way, and I've cut all three pieces. I needed one big strip for the middle and then two for the side banner pieces. And then I am just using a stamp by Tim Holtz to just kind of distress it a little bit. I wanted it to look like it was kind of shadowed on the sides, so I'm just using this stamp along with some black ink to just add that little shadowing effect to my edges there before I glue them down. My baby girl here is sitting beside me. She's grabbing some various things and crafting along with me today as usual. I like to call her my little assistant. As most of you know in my videos, she usually pops in from time to time and is usually at my desk at some point. There's also a ladybug that flies into this video at some point, which I have to end up removing from my frame. So that's a little exciting tidbit for you, but I'm almost finished backing this cut file at this point. My desk got a little bit messy with the glue, so I moved over here since it was still wet on that glass board after I cleaned that glue off. So I moved over here to my cutting mat to back these final pieces because I didn't want to get any glue on the front side of my cut file. So there it is. That's what it's going to look like. I'm just kind of cleaning up my desk a little bit. There's that ladybug. I just saw it fly. It does come back in the frame a little bit later. I love this beautiful background paper by 49 and Market, so I've grabbed that to use for my background. I just love how the cow photos really pop against that pretty blue, and it kind of reminded me of sky, which these photos were taken on our farm at the top of our field, which is on this big hill. So there's lots of sky in view in where they were. And I don't know if anybody is going to get this little kind of pun here, but I've thrown in a little food ticket here from Vicky's collection because these are beef cows and we do eat them, but we won't eat her. She's actually just going to be used for breeding since she's a really, really nice size and she's got good genes. So we will use her for breeding to make more babies and to make beef to sell. So that's kind of our life around here and what we've been into. But my favorite Christmas song is I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas. So I wanted to use that on this layout because I actually call her Hippo. That's her name. That's what I have named her, Hippo. And my favorite Christmas song is that one. So it just went perfectly together with the Paper Issues Challenge to be inspired by those Christmas lyrics. And if you know me, you know that I'm not huge on Christmas music, and I am... I guess I'm kind of a Grinch, and my friends actually call me a Grinch sometimes too. So, and I love the Grinch, to be honest. He's my absolute favorite when it comes to Christmas. I love the Grinch. I love everything about that. I do like Christmas. I just don't like whenever Christmas is kind of thrown in your face right the second after Thanksgiving ends. So that's kind of just my pet peeve. And that's just me. If you're into Christmas and that's your thing, and you like to turn that music on, all month of November or whenever, that is totally fine. And I am okay with you and okay with that. But it's just not my thing. There's that little ladybug. It popped back into my frame there on my leaf, so I got rid of her. And I didn't get rid of her, I just moved her. I don't really mind ladybugs, but I don't like ladybugs being on my projects when I'm trying to do things. So I grabbed my black ink again and a stamp set. I think it's called Icons by Elle Studio, and I just wanted those cute little music notes on there because it is a Christmas song, and I thought that would just kind of bring that out and make people aware that that's what I'm talking about. And then I wanted to add another little kind of a subtitle here at the bottom and just write her name down here. So I'm just going to add letters to say Meet Hippo with a little arrow that's cow print. And that one is by Hip Kit Club. I just pulled out an older Hip Kit and I'm just grabbing some elements from that and throwing on here. I'm using some embellishments from that Where to Next collection by Vicky Boutin. And I'm just using kind of bits and pieces from here and there in my stash. So I'm using a lot of colors on this one. I typically don't pull in a ton of color on my layouts. I like to stick to grungy colors and kind of more boy themed layouts, but this one, it didn't really matter because my photos were black and white pretty much because she's black. So they were pretty tame as far as color goes on my photos. So I thought I could bring in more color on my layout to kind of balance this out just fine. I am going to throw on a flare by Peartree on my cut file here on the camera. I just thought it would look really cute to put that Explore More flare. It's one of the canvas flares from the shop right in the center of my camera. So I backed it with that pretty acetate paper, but then I did cover a little bit up in the very center. I really wasn't fond of how the very center was looking anyways. I should have made that black, but I wasn't thinking before I backed all of that and put all those layers together. So I just thought that flare would look really cool in the middle. So that's what I'm going to end up doing here after I add all these little bits. My alpha title is a mixed alpha title. I've used actually three sets of fonts. I used another one at the bottom, but for the main one there, for the lyrics, I used two different fonts. I will list those links down below in the description because I can't remember offhand what it was for the smaller one. I know it was called something like Poppy or something. I can't remember offhand, but I will link it below for you as long as anything else that I can find links for that I have used. This little sticker book here is one by Simple Stories. It's actually from a zoo collection, but I'm pulling bits and pieces from this because it's perfect for this. I'm talking about a hippo in my photos and on this layout. So this zoo collection is just perfect for this layout. And I was going to use that collection. I think it's called Into the Wild, maybe Simple Stories Into the Wild. That sounds right, but I'm not sure if that's right. But I'll link it below. I'll check and put all these names and things down below so you don't have to rewind or try to remember everything that I've said. But I thought this zoo collection was perfect. I was going to use the background papers and everything from that for my entire layout, but I was just really, really drawn to these blues and on that background and the blues in this collection by Vicky Boutin and all these gorgeous colors in that Where to Next collection. So that's kind of why I went that route, and I'm just kind of mixing and matching different things from different collections on this one. These are some tags by that same Hip Kit collection that I'm using. I'm just ripping that apart so I can save the rest. I was planning on using the bottom somewhere else, but I didn't actually use the bottom on this layout. So I'll just pop it back in here in case I add it on something else for another layer. I really like this little frame bit here. I'm going to actually cover some of that up. I like to ruffle the edges of my florals whenever I add those to pages because it just gives them a little pop of dimension. And then speaking of dimension, I'm going to add some 3D foam squares to the back of this little title here and add this on top of my alpha letters here at the top of the banner. My photos, I forgot to mention, I have a little Polaroid die that I run through my Big Shot machine that I used on my little cow pictures. So I did that off camera before I started. That way I had them already prepped and ready to go, and I didn't have to do all my die cutting on camera while I was trying to back this cut file as well, because it tends to make the videos a lot longer. And then just to finish this off, I like to add just a little bit more texture by just twiddling around some thread, and I'm just using like a burnt orange color. It's one of my favorite colors, or actually it is my favorite color, I would say. And I am just tucking little bits of that here and there around my layout, and I'm just gluing that in place with some Nuvo glue behind everything. I'm actually gluing down my tails as well with a little dot of glue. That way I can route them exactly where I want them to be and curve them around and just make them a little bit more interesting. And then this one, I am adding around that little sweet tag there, and I'm just adhering that down right beside that photo of her. And then again, gluing down those tails so they're not all wild and crazy, which honestly would be pretty appropriate for this layout anyways if it was, because she's a little, I wouldn't say she's crazy. We do have one crazy cow that I actually did a layout on before called Crazy Eyes, and she's nuts. She's calmed down a lot from what she had been when we first got her, but she's still a little bit skittish and kind of wild. But she's tamed down a lot from where she was. But this one here, I love to give her snuggles. She's probably my favorite cow that we have. She's really super fat, so she does waddle when she walks. I'm hoping that she might be pregnant right now and about ready to have a baby, so we'll see. And hopefully she has a nice cute little baby. But yeah, she's big and she's friendly. She's very, very food motivated, so she comes to you when you have food, and she likes to get handfuls of grass from my kids, and she's really tame, so she's really, really sweet. So I've got little layers here. I'm tucking in a couple 49 and Market labels there at the bottom, and that's gonna do it for this one. So if you guys want to grab this Advent and all of these Advent files, I will link that below for you in case you want to grab that from Peartree. So thank you guys so much for being here, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.